Well, Idriss Jazairy is the UN Special Rapporteur on Sudan on the negative impacts of sanctions. He joins us now from Khartoum. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for joining us. What's your initial assessment then of the impact that these sanctions are having on Sudan economically and in terms of human rights?
First, let me say that I'm not the Special Rapporteur on the Sudan. I'm the Special Rapporteur on unilateral coercive measures, that is on sanctions worldwide. The sanctions applied in the Sudan are comprehensive sanctions. They're therefore particularly difficult to manage without having an adverse impact on the innocent population. At present, we only have very few countries which are still subjected to comprehensive measures. The Security Council has decided a few years ago, after the experience acquired in Iraq in particular, that it would be better to have so-called smart sanctions, which target specific sectors or specific individuals, avoiding to a greater extent collateral damage on the population of a country at large. In the case of Sudan, there is considerable collateral damage on the population out there that has nothing to do with the differences, the political differences between their political leadership and that of other countries.
What is the process now? What do you do with these initial findings? What's the next step?
The next step is to try to open up an avenue for a consensual approach to gradually removing those sanctions as they have these very adverse impacts on the basic rights, right to food, right to life, right to health, right to education of the population of Sudan. This is a time when we could be optimistic about the future. After all, the President of the United States has taken some very courageous initiatives to try to get the process to end the same kind of comprehensive measures which have been applied to Cuba for half a century and to Iran for about 3 decades. The measures applied to Sudan have also been enforced for the past 20 years, and they have not evolved. So we should be asking ourselves the question, if these measures do not work over 20 years, how long do you think it would be before we try to have a look at it, review them, and try to use some more effective instrument to promote joint or the objectives of the international community? It seems now that comprehensive measures are a blunt instrument to bring about required change.
Okay, Idriss Jazairy, thank you very much for your time and thank you for joining us here on TRT World.